Hey guys, Cheers here. Yeah, I had a thought. People are talking about this abortion scandal or this Planned Parenthood scandal, where they're selling baby parts and stuff. Okay, apparently they aren't selling baby parts. They're just covering the cost of shipping to these biomedical firms. Well, I was thinking about that. At first I thought, well, why don't they just freaking create artificial wombs so they could grow these babies instead of aborting them so they could have little organ donors. But then I thought, no, well, all of this aside of freaking morality or ethics, of course, right? That's out the window right now. It's gone. People can do what they want. Not in a good way. So, but then I thought, well, the problem with that is like clones, is you just can't grow a bat baby for organs. The things that make organs work and healthy is the same things that make people healthy. Active metabolism, walking around, walking and talking, emotional stability, tranquility, all the things that make a good life make a good organ. And you get into all the expenses of artificial things like artificial wombs that aren't possible now, cloning, which is possible, but they aren't that viable. And it isn't the same as a person, right? Actual people are better. Especially if you could screen genetics. Well, okay. So I was thinking about that, and I thought, well, what if they did this? What if somebody did this? This is more of a science fiction book than reality, right? But what if they said, either they made a deal just to go full term and the parent or the mother was thinking she was adopting the baby out, but she wasn't, or they just had a late term abortion that they thought was an abortion, but it was really just a birth. And they didn't. They saved all the organs, but they saved the head too. They did an early birth, a full birth. And just took the child away. And said, it's aborted. And the mother didn't have any clue, right? Then they took these little kids in vats, right? Not in vats, but those early plastic things, the respiratory boxes, plastic boxes, where, an early birth child is put in. What if they got a lot of these, right? And they adopted these children, but they took them out to this farm, or this huge, what was the word for that? Complex. A walled complex, right? And how this would work was that within this complex, which would be like a human habitat, right? But what they did is they never put written language around, and they never talked in front of these children, and there was never any access to media or anything like that, just nature and like a zoo, like one of those modern habitat zoos. It's huge, right? About 5 miles wide or something, with like huge walls on the outside, so they couldn't get out, and they raised these children like livestock. There was no language, there was no language allowed, but they fed them. They changed their, they raised them basically without language. So they could sleep on mattresses and, and be potty trained and all that stuff, right? And they knew when to come eat because little gongs or something, and that's the way it went until they were older. And then they were also trained where they would come in and they know to lay on this one table, it would be like, sleepy time. So that way they could do like basic things like dentistry and check for medical, But when it came time, they were separated in a little room, just like normal sleepy time, right? But that's when you had the need arise or they got too old, you harvested the organs, right? You just gave them a little friggin' shot, and they went to sleep, and then you just put the mask on them and just harvested everything out. The eyes, the liver, the lungs, everything. Everything you could, right? The limbs, I'm not sure, maybe even the genitalia, I mean, harvested everything, and then just got rid of it, and sold the rest to friggin' medical institutions, and sold what you got to the highest bidder. Or how it would work in the mail registry or anything like that. There would be secret back deals to bio firms and stuff like that, Or maybe they used them for, well, no, I'm not going to say human testing, but who knows, What I wonder, the one thing I wondered, though, and the weirdest thing was, if you tried to raise children without language and with no one speaking in front of them or any reading material or access to media or anything, would they start learning their own language? That's what I wonder. I mean, what would human beings raised in an environment without language be like? Of course, this is my solution to friggin' just, having replacement organs without cloning or artificial wombs or anything like that. Just start raising humans in a farm, or a little complex, 5 or 10 miles wide. I wonder how that would work. Of course, this is just a thought that occurred to me. I have a lot of weird thoughts like that, really weird things, real utopian. It's like, what would this be like? Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Hey, that's my thought for friggin' organ harvesting. Isn't that great? Also, I kind of got the idea from the movie The Island. So, there's that too. Fun world we live in. Second try. Third try.